Greetings and welcome to another edition of The Great Goddess. Praise be to Goddess. Praise be to Goddess. Well, here it is, another Wednesday, and today we have for you part 3 of our 3-part series on why I believe what I do about Goddess. And today's subject is Goddess and the universe. A rather expansive subject if there ever was one. Goddess and the universe. Well, what do I believe about Goddess and the universe? The universe is out there and it's huge. It's just huge beyond our imagination, beyond the capacity for rational thought. And the goddess is out there in that huge universe, out there in that universe, being herself, being her great self in that great universe that we see in the night sky. What do we know about the universe, and how can we relate it to Goddess when we know so little about the universe and that there's so much to know? And the universe is so large, it's so vast. How can anyone comprehend it with its trillions of stars? It has there's literally quadrillions of stars in the universe. There's more than quadrillions of stars. There's quintillions of stars. There's sextillions of stars. There's septillions of stars in the universe. There's more stars than we can even conceive of. And our own star is hard to conceive of as well. It's so massive and so large, it's hard to imagine that many stars in our universe. And how the goddess can encompass all of those stars, it's hard to fathom. How can she be so vast and so large and still care about little you and me? Well, she does care about you and me, but she is vast. She's vaster than we can possibly imagine. And she's so vast and so expansive, she encompasses whole galaxies. And there's thousands of galaxies out there in the universe. There's so many galaxies, and each one of them contains hundreds of millions of stars. So how can we wrap our heads around this vast universe that the goddess has created? And how can we believe that we even have a place? How can we even have a place in such a vast universe? And how can we feel like we belong to someone or something, that we have a home in this universe that's so expansive and so vast? Well, all things begin with a beginning, and all things have a middle, and all things have an end. Very simple, right? Simple. The universe, as vast as it is, has a beginning and an end. And because of that, we can imagine what our universe must really be like. And what we know about Goddess is that she is as vast as the entire universe. She encompasses the entire universe. The universe is a part of her. The universe is her. She is a part of the universe, and the universe is a part of her. And she created this universe out of her own vastness of self, her own selfhood. And it's hard to imagine, it's hard for us to imagine that any being could encompass so much, that any being could be that vast and that huge and encompass that much. But she does. She encompasses this vast oceanic universe that we experience every day as the night sky. She encompasses all of that. How can she encompass all of that? How can she be so vast? Well, she just is. She's ageless, timeless, vast beyond comprehension. She is creativity itself. She is the creative force throughout the entire universe. She is this creative force that drives forward strongly until it reaches its natural conclusion, which is creation of a universe so vast and so full of matter and full of space and full of gravity and forces and full of time. She created all of it. She created this vast universe that we call home, that we live in. And she created us. Now, what do I believe about the creation of the universe? Well, the universe, according to scientists, began with a single point, smaller than the period at the end of a sentence. A single point. The whole universe, this vastness that we see that's hard for us to comprehend, began with a single point, smaller than the period at the end of a paragraph. And this vast universe sprang from that point to fill endless millions and billions and trillions of miles of space from that single point. And that happened billions of years ago. Who knows how many billions? Some scientists say 9 billion, some say 13 billion. But there had to be time for a supernova to form and explode, to form the matter that created our sun and our planets. So we know that there's vast amounts of time, vast amounts of space, and that the goddess created all of this out of what? I believe that this single point that was the origin of the universe was the opening of Goddess's womb. Goddess's womb opened and expanded, and the universe expanded outward out of her womb to create the entire universe. It was out of her essential matter, her essential being, that the universe came about. It was out of Goddess. It was out of her essential essence. It wasn't necessarily matter as we conceive of it. It wasn't energy as we conceive of it. It was her essence that created this universe, and it sprang from her womb. So it was a natural birth. And so the universe evolved naturally, and it originated naturally. All of the things that we know, all of the time, all of the matter, all of the energy, all of the forces that we know originated at this single point, which was Goddess and Goddess's womb. Goddess's womb opened up, and the universe sprang out of her womb. Now, this may be hard for people to fathom, but it's even more hard to fathom that all the matter that we know and all the tons and tons and tons of matter, the tons and tons of matter out there in the universe originated at a single point. That's hard to fathom. Because out of something smaller than a thimbleful came the entire universe. How can that be? Because it wasn't matter and it wasn't energy. Energy and matter were created out of essence. It was Goddess's essential essence. She conceived of the entire universe before it was ever born. And so it was conceived out of her essential matter. Out of her womb came the universe. It was out of her essence that the universe coalesced and formed and burst forth from her essence, from her essential matter. So when you think of the universe, think of Goddess's womb and think of her essence as being the source of all of this matter and all of this energy that we see today. All of that came from Goddess's essence. She conceived of this universe before it ever began. She conceived of the vast, unfathomable number of stars in her universe, and the stars, the planets around those stars, the humans on those planets, and us, you and I. She conceived of it all before it ever came to be. She conceived of it out of her essential matter. And why do I believe that the universe had one source? Just one source. Why am I monotheistic, so to speak? Why do I believe in one goddess? Why do I not believe that there's a horned god with little horns? Little horns that accompanies Goddess throughout her universe. Well, there's a simple reason for that. There is no horned god, because the universe was conceived out of a single point, and that single point had to be a single source. The single point had a single source, and that single point was Goddess. It's sort of like what the Taoists imagine as the Tao, the source of all life and all creation, being a single source, a single unit that's a single point, a single source. What they call, I can't remember what they call it, but they call it a unity of the source is unified. It's like the grand unified theory that there was a single source, a single force, it started with one force at one source, and that was Goddess's essence. It was her essence bursting forth into creation, to create and create and create some more, to just keep on creating out of her essential matter, out of her essence. And so this essence that was the source of the universe had to be one point. Goddess didn't need any sperm to fertilize her ovum. She didn't need a fertilizer for the universe. She didn't need a man god to make her whole or complete, or to fertilize her, to make her fertile and productive. All she needed was herself. That's all that was required, was herself. Now that might call into question, well, how can Goddess be female if there's no polarity of male? You know, the polarity of male and female, he and her, his and hers, polarity, that gender is polarity. Well, there's a quick answer to that. Goddess's essential femininity, wait for it, Goddess's essential femininity is in comparison, the polarity to her femininity, the him to her, is us. We, the creation. We, the Goddess's creation. We are the him to her. That is what distinguishes Goddess as female. She is feminine compared to us. So now you know how the Goddess distinguishes herself as feminine. She doesn't distinguish herself as feminine out of thin air or out of imagination of her mind. She conceives of herself as feminine only in relation to the creation, which is masculine. So there is a very dignified force that her creation holds in her cosmology, in her universe. It's very important that her creation is the he to her she. And so that is why there was never a horned god. The him, the he, is a creation of the divine feminine, a creation of the female. The female came first, and then after creation happened, then there was the male. The male being the whole universe, the source of all of us, was masculine compared to her feminine. So we know now that there's levels of masculinity and femininity. The universe is very feminine compared to us, but masculine compared to Goddess. So the universe seems very feminine. And that's because Goddess created it. It's one of Goddess's creations. So it seems very feminine to us. But to her, it's a masculine because she created it out of her essence. And so she is the feminine. She is the mother creator. And her creation is her baby. That's her male child. And so we are even more masculine. We, her children, we, the Goddess's children, we, the human beings, are even more masculine compared to that universe. We are the most masculine beings in this universe, male and female included. We are masculine because we are her creation. So now you know. Now you know how the universe was created, what it was created out of. It was created out of her essence. How it came about. Where was the source of this? How did it all begin? And the Big Bang is about as far as scientists can go to decide how our universe came about. And that's their best guess. That's their based upon the background radiation of the universe and all of the unevenness of matter and distribution of matter throughout the universe and the way it all began. The everything in the universe points toward the Big Bang Theory. And the Big Bang Theory points toward Goddess as a source. Goddess is the source of this Big Bang. How did matter come about? How did space come about? How did all of creation come seemingly out of nothing, just instantaneously, and last for so long? Well, it's because it was Goddess's creation. So that concludes our 3-part series on why I believe what I do about Goddess. Join us next week as we explore Thanksgiving.